presentation. I am Diavia Contreras. I am an RBT here at Verity, and I'm also the clinic's behavioral consistency specialist. And this is
Anita Morris, also an RBT and the Chancellor of Imagination. You got Silly and Whimsy. I'm on it.
Alrighty. So our topic today is protecting our children from potentially traumatic experiences. Before we get into the presentation, I want to let you know that the information given here today is meant to empower you with awareness and practical strategies for fostering an environment where your child feels safe and understood, and then grounding those practices in compassion. And it is in no way meant to instill fear. So before I wanted to say that before we get started.
Ooh, fear.
No. Alrighty. So firstly, we want to understand trauma is more than just the big T. So trauma isn't just major events, it's the experience of an event and with a lasting impact on the individual that leaves them feeling overwhelmed, helpless, or unsafe. So this could really be something that you think is minor, but to your child with that overwhelming feeling that they're not getting help working through, it is a traumatic experience. Chronic stressors, repeated negative interactions, sensory overload, lack of control. Um, these are all things that excuse me. These are all things that impact the child in a major way and could lead to lasting effects that wow lead to lasting effects that symbolize heavy trauma induced what's the word I'm looking for? Heavy trauma induced.
Behavior.
Thank you. Behaviors. All right. So sensory sensitivities can make common environments overwhelming. For me personally, this could be as simple as going to the grocery stores. I get very overstimulated going into grocery stores. The lights are too bright, the sounds are too much. There's too many options everywhere. It's very overstimulating. And so yeah, sometimes going to the grocery store could be traumatic for me. And so imagine not having the communication to let you know that I'm feeling overstimulated in this environment. It can lead to some very traumatic feelings, some very overwhelmed and traumatic feelings. And then communication differences can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, feeling unheard. I know if I told Anita, "Hey, I like when you hold my hand more," and she does not hold my hand, especially when I'm feeling frustrated, then that could leave me feeling very frustrated, very unheard, especially clearly commu- when I clearly communicated my needs to her and it wasn't being dealt with. Now, let's say I didn't have the capacity to communicate effectively that I wanted her to hold my hand and instead I just grabbed her hand and she moved it back. She's not understanding that my communication is attempting to get her to hold my hand, especially because I'm not saying it verbally. And I will say sometimes just grabbing people, even if you're trying to communicate something effective, it can be off putting. It can be scary. It can be a sensory overload for yourself. And so making sure that you're addressing those things is super important.
I would like to add to that. Probably is like I don't like being touched very much. And even that of itself is enough traumatizing that you need something that I can't do it. I can't
Hmm.
give it to you. And that's can also like that's a little trauma there. Cause like you could have expressed this, but like I can't do it. I can't do it. And that's like my own thing. And now we're creating our little moment. This is where we say like, oh, we're not gonna, try to scare you with this because sometimes you just can't provide what is needed.
Hmm.
So what we do is we try to figure out the little workaround. Like, no, I don't like being touched. I don't like touching other people. But you can hold a hand with a teddy bear and I'll hold the other teddy bear's hand. And this is
Hmm.
this is just this is kind of what we gotta go through to just kind of like overcome that because it comes from both parties. So like, yes, she's what that's what she needs, but I can't do it. I can't do it, and that's like my own little thing, I just that I just can't do it. Can't do it, and it's okay because sometimes there are things that we just can't do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for children on the spectrum, their unique sensory processing, communication styles, and need for predictability can make them particularly vulnerable to experiencing situations as traumatic. Even if they seem minor to others, it's up to us to make sure that we're understanding these vulnerable situations, these vulnerabilities. There we go, these vulnerabilities, and then proactively mitigate them. Ooh wee. All right, give us a quick moment. This is why. But we're gonna separate these into four categories of the impact of addressing trauma on development. So this first category is the vein development category, in which is responsible for the emotional regulation, learning, and executive function. Do you want to go in more into that?
So I know I've struggled with this a lot, like as a kid, just myself, like executive function. I probably have heard us throw around the word like executive dysfunction when there's just so much to do that you can't get it done. And this isn't so much like, oh, lazy. It's not the same thing. There's very much a need. Because I know I get this, that I want to get these things done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. So we have to like break it down as like what we can do, how to do it, because chronic stress, I know like a lot of people talk about like the other parts of like how it affects your body that, but stress, but the big stress cause like cortisol, that'll makes you
Mm-hmm.
that puts you in the fight or flight. And so that affects your body, that affects your heart, it affects your brain. Because if your brain is in that constant, fight or flight, maybe we're not making the best decisions, we're
Mm-hmm.
making survival decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, kids are getting stressed these days. I know what stress would stress me out is, and this it seems very small to other people. And I understand like as an adult, like, wow, that was a little silly, but it's not. I couldn't take a shower in my sibling's bathroom because I wasn't the one who cleaned it. I didn't know how that got cleaned. I didn't know if they did it to my standard. I could not do it. If I had to take a shower in a shower that I did not clean, I couldn't function for the rest of the day. Everything was just wrong. It was everything's dirty. Everything's slightly dirty. I'm slightly dirty. I can't do this. I can't do this. And that does take effect
Mm-hmm.
on your brain and how I'm making decisions. Because now what should have been as easy as like chicken or steak, I'm like, I'm gonna panic. I can't do it.
Exactly. Chronic stress and trauma can impact brain regions responsible for your emotional regulation, your learning, and your executive function. So just as you were saying, when you're in that fight or fight mode, no, I'm not going to have emotional regulation. No, I'm not ready to learn. No, I don't have that executive function because I'm not at the place that I need to be. I'm in survival mode. There's no need to learn when you're surviving. You just survive. There's no need to emotional regulate when you're surviving. You just survive. And so making sure that we're addressing these proactively, and then in making sure that we're acknowledging that any behavior is a form of communication. Increased anxiety, meltdowns, aggression, withdrawal, self self-injurious behavior, these are often seen as attempts to cope with these overwhelming feelings or reestablish a sense of safety and control. So I can't control that I'm feeling stressed right now, but what I can do is control the movements that I'm doing with myself. I can control my hands and move you away from me. I can control my hands and beat my head and make sure that you stop whatever that it is that you're trying to get me to do, because in that moment it's about figuring out what I can control and what's going to make the situation better for me. and it all goes back to what happened in the past, right? So if in the past I started screaming and yelling, and you no longer ask me to do this specific thing because I started screaming and yelling, then that then reinforces all I need to do is scream and yell, and then we're going to stop. However, that can also lead to that little t traumatic moment of I just need to start screaming and yelling. And that traumatic moment doesn't just happen for the child, it can also happen for the parent. It can also happen for the parent. And so identifying these relationship changes, difficulty forming secure attachments, these trust issues, and then reformulating it back to, hey, you're safe right now. You can use your words in the way that you know how. I'm listening. I understand. And let's get back to the safe and calm zone where we're not in our fight or flight, where we're able to get back to our learning and our executive function.
You know what? When it comes to like the relationship challenges, I've had a client who had particularly rough behaviors, and so they weren't able to keep RBTs. Or a lot of RBTs couldn't handle it, so they cycle through, and that is pretty traumatic. Like when somebody that is supposed to be there for you, you're supposed to
Mhm.
trust, it just keeps cycling out. That by the time that I got to this particular client, they just tried to speed up the process. They hit
Mhm.
hard and heavy with their like intense behaviors right off the bat to try to hurry up and like
Yeah, they're
finish
gonna leave sooner or later, so why not leave sooner?
just get it done to just get it done. And it took a good long while for them to realize I'm sticking around. And then that as soon as they realized that, then we kind of like, oh, we worked through like that little trauma of like, okay, they're sticking around. I can get
Mhm.
attached to this person. Now I can start forming relationships with other RBTs and
Mhm.
start working from there. That like me not being there, it wasn't a big deal anymore. Because like, oh, she's gone today, but she'll come back next week.
Absolutely.
If she's not coming back next week, I can, maybe do a call of like rebuilding, that little trauma of like, well, they're just going to leave. Let's just speed up the process. Let's just get it through. To
Absolutely.
repair that like relationship skill. Like, oh no, people will come back. We can work through this. We can get there. A lot of people don't realize that, especially like, like just having that mindset of like, oh, they're gonna leave, just hurry up.
Mhm.
Just hurry up. And then like that scary step of like, oh, they're sticking around to repair that little trauma. So we can finally like regulate out to start trusting other people. And then they can like further help you with like your process. Like, all right, well, I see why you feel this way. Let's
Mhm.
let's work through it. And so like that's just like kind of form like a little trauma that inconsistency. You're
Yes.
not gonna be here, so let's just get out already.
Absolutely, and that goes right back into the routine based thing of it all, of now that I'm feeling secure in this routine, I can move my brain, my body, I can remove it out of survival mode. I can get into my learning mode because now I feel safe with you to do that. I feel like not only do you know me well enough, but you've shown me that you're ready to communicate with me, that you're willing to listen to me, that you're ready to validate my feelings and when I'm feeling that difficulty or if I'm feeling that frustration, I know that you're going to be here to help me through it and that we're going to get through the difficult place so that we can get back to the fun learning of it all. And that is really what it's about, creating that secure relationship, and not just for yourself and your child, but knowing you can create secure relationships with other people outside of yourself, knowing that they're going to, protect your child and care for them just as much as you do, which is the whole the whole basis of our entire
It
video
takes a
today.
village.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Proactive protection, creating a safe and predictable world. So, firstly, we're going to prioritize our sensory safety. This is identifying and reducing triggers. So, for me, back to my little grocery store situation, I feel like this is pretty well known about me that I don't like the grocery store. So one thing that I do to reduce my triggers is, as much as I possibly can, I do online shopping and I will just go and pick it up. Like, this is reducing my triggers, identifying that it was the lights that were triggering me, the sounds that were triggering me. And sometimes it's not that apparent. Like, if I go into the grocery store with my headphones on, it's not apparent to everyone else that I'm overstimulated by the sounds. It just looks like I'm wearing headphones and having a good lottie dottie day. Like, identifying what it is that is creating that sensory overload. And sometimes it can be clothes. I know that I've had a client who really did not like feeling the tags on the back of his shirt or the tags in the back of his pants. Cut them out. You can still wear the pants with the tag cut out. It's perfectly fine. Um, Safe sensory havens. Here, I do create my own little safe sensory haven. When I'm at work, I create my own little sensory haven. I have my little sensory toys and my music going in the background. If I need to seclude myself in a dark place, I know exactly what dark place I have that are available to me. Me personally, if I'm feeling very overstimulated, I will take off my glasses. Something that is easily identifiable, able to be in my own control. Like, you have something to say.
It wasn't important. I don't want to see y'all's mess. Let me take off my glasses.
That's what it is. And then, of course, giving self regulation strategies. So, one that I use often is counting, deep breath counting. One, this is something that is very easily generalizable that you can take with you everywhere. You don't have to have any other stimuli or anything else with you to engage in that self-counting behavior. Deep breath. Sometimes I will do counting on my fingers. What else? What are some of my what are some of my self-regulation strategies? I do a lot. I do a
I'm gonna
lot.
say self is meaning self.
I
For
do a lot.
me,
I be dancing. That's my number one self-regulation. I start dancing.
for me, I like having the nothing. And that sounds funny, but I don't like things on me. I don't like things around me. I, it's a quiet, even like at home, like I don't like the feel of like collared shirts at my neck. It feels icky to me. So at home I'm wearing tank tops, you know. I I don't like texture on my feet. So I have like my shoes and my slippers because I know that's just something that's gonna get me, you know. Like for me, my sensory is sometimes I do need that squish. I need something to
Mhm,
play rough. For me, the only way I can get things out is by that rough, so I've learned that I bake. I bake when I'm upset. I make cinnamon rolls or I make a dough because that's how I get that physical rough out by
mhm,
kneading dough because I have to put a whole lot into it, like when I was selling. Ah.
mhm,
So that's my way to productively get it out, get that sensory because there's not a lot of things that I can play rough with. I can't play rough with other people.
mhm,
That's just not accepted. Something like dough, squishy, that's something that I can get that rough out. And if I need that when I'm elsewhere, I crumple up hard like receipts in my purse. There's always something for me to squeeze.
mhm,
And I just like I don't like things on me. You know, when I'm in a focus zone, it's don't look at me, don't touch me, don't talk to me. Just leave me, just let me be in my little moment. That's what I need. And like if I have my music crazy enough, like even though I'm upset, I need that faster paced music to match up to where I'm at. So then it makes me feel slow.
mhm,
I need everything and nothing all at the same time. And at my home, I have lots of things on the wall so I can like visually bounce for something. that I can see, that I can identify, but there's nothing on my floor because if something touches my feet, I'm going off. And I'm bringing it back to like the shower thing. Like I need to know that it's clean. You know, I scrub something. I need to clean something that's in my control. That's how fix my environment.
Mm-hmm.
I clean. I can't have a messy environment or it stresses me out. I have to change my environment to where I'm at. When my life is in crisis, I organize my closet for all the things that I am in control of, that I can see the physical product of.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see a physical product. It's like, okay, everything is fine, everything is good. This is something we've changed. And I've seen it.
Hey, Anita, next time you're stressed out, I have a closet for you to clean.
Absolutely. And then, of course, then making sure that you're identifying what your specific child's needs are. They may not be like Anita and they don't really care that the room is clean or something is on or something is off. It could be that proximity is not close enough. It could be that I know something that sets me off and it's hardly noticeable to anybody and it sometimes like it will it will trigger me in a way that no one will really know what was the trigger, but there's sometimes when the lights are flickering and it's not noticeable to anyone else but me. And that's just because I have super sensitive eyes. But sometimes if the if something is flickering, I know sometimes like I get very upset when smoke alarms are beeping, like the little beep. No, I can't. Change the batteries immediately because that literally sends my like when I get anxiety, it presents itself as a physical symptom for me personally, and I have seen that happen with other people as well, and especially with individuals on the spectrum where anxiety presents itself as a physical symptom. For me personally, I feel like someone is holding my stomach and squeezing it in pulses. That is what anxiety feels like to me. For someone else, it could be a totally different sensation, and then addressing what that means, what that anxiety is, what it needs to address looks different for each person. So for me, it could be turn the lights off. Just don't put them on. Turn the minimal amount of lights on. I don't want to have the overhead lights on. And it's around very now it's to the point where in the office we don't even turn on the overhead light as much. It's everyone has their own little lamp because it gets so overstimulating. I just, whew, I'm feeling it now. Let go. Um, but yeah, and so identifying that, letting the others around you know, like if I didn't have the means to communicate that I need the lights turned off right now, and instead my behavior was just getting up and slapping the lights off, then that is me communicating my need to address that overstimulus. All right. Maximize predictability. Visual schedules are awesome. I use them everywhere. And same thing with first then boards. These create not only so I can visually see what my schedule is, but it creates a pattern in which I'm able to manipulate my schedule myself, which makes me more likely to engage in what activity, what is planned, what transition is next. Creating that predictability reduces negative behavior. You were going to say
You
something.
know what? Because I just realized those are like visual schedules, person boards. So many people have them, but they don't realize what it is. Like color coded planners.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is a color coded planner and it is time blocked. People don't realize that that is your own visual schedule first then board. I have stickers for like a little plant when it's time for me to water my plants. That my life is ruined when I don't do my bedtime routine in my morning planner where I
Mm-hmm.
time block off everything So it's broad enough that I know, like, during this time period when I get home, that's chore time. What chores is it? I don't know, but it's chore time,
Mhm.
and that's what keeps me going. So it's not too strict that if it has any deviation, I'm falling apart. But pardon me, but it's structured so that I can get things done with, like, those flexibility of, like, "All right, well, it's chore time. You put away your laundry before, I expected to, so now it's sweeping the floor." So it creates that enough space in there
Mhm.
so it's not, "You didn't put away the laundry. To the gallows with you," you know? But it's a lot of people don't realize that their little planners, their little journaling,
Mhm.
it is a visual schedule. It is a first then. You just don't realize it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, of course, with younger children, and really, I'm gonna say, with younger children, social stories are so impactful. They're very impactful because you are like, you never passive learning. There we
You
go.
know what? So let me tell you about, like, you ever heard about, like, what is it? The Pout Pout Fish? It's a children's book. The Pout Pout Fish with a pout pout face, spreading weary dreariness all over the place. And it's about how this fish was just unhappy with everything, until another fish came by and gave it a little smooch on the top of the head. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to be a pout pout fish. I want to be a happy kiss kiss fish." And, to go spread joy. And that was my social story for my mom would read us when we were just grumpy. Because, it was like, that pout pout fish had beautiful lips to go give little smooches. Are you gonna use, are you gonna be a pout pout fish? Or are you gonna be, a happy kissy fish? I'm like, you know what, you're right. That I have all the tools, to do something.
Mhm.
So let me do something. And that was like what really like subtly snuck it in. That my
Absolutely.
mom,
Passive
like,
learning.
to this day, she's like,
Yeah, and then it also shows like the impact. Sorry, I didn't mean
go
to cut
for
you
it.
off. But yeah, it really shows the impact of, what your behaviors and how it may affect other people, right? So like, so the pout pout fish, I could probably, when they were going around pouting around, like other people around them also became sad or upset or whatever not, right? Like, so social stories like that part is really important because it really in a visual way shows our kiddos like, when you're acting a certain way or when you're having a certain behavior or a certain emotion, how it's impacting somebody else around you. That's not
Mhm.
something that they're thinking about, so that is a really important part of the social story, is to show.
Absolutely. Wonderful point. Thank you so much. Heart. All right. Next, we want to make sure that we are doing everything to prime transitions. One way that I do this is I give a countdown. Hey, you have 5 more minutes left of this, and then we're gonna be wrapping up. 2 minutes later, hey, you have 3 more minutes, and then we're gonna be going to the next thing. 1 minute later, hey, you have 2 more minutes. Like, just letting them know so that it's predictable when the activity is going to end. This leads, I'm gonna jump. So sorry. I'm gonna jump to this sense of control and choice because I feel like these two boxes are trying to speak to me right now, and I'm trying to get through this first box. Meaningful choices and child-led activities. I feel like these two are the most important when it comes to getting your child to safely and happily engage in a task that you're wanting to have them engage in. So you were saying when you go home and on your little chart you have chores and you didn't know what chores, it's just chores. Meaningful choices to the child would be, do you want to start with sweeping or do you want to start with picking up your toys? That child, oh, I get say in what I get to do first. That's awesome. I'm going to start with picking up my toys. Child-led activities. A lot of ways that I prefer to do this is when I'm making my visual schedule. Within my visual schedule, I will have a picture of my client, or a picture of my client, and I will put your choice, name choice. You get to choose whatever we do for this time block from 1:30 to 2. This is your choice, what you want to do, and I'm gonna go for it 1,000,000% with you. Creating that meaningful pair, creating that meaningful activity to where we're consistent, but we're also leading in the activity and leading and going away from the activity to something different. All right. And then, of course, we're going to do as many preferred breaks and involved decisions. And this really just goes back into letting the child choose what they do for their time in their free time in that moment where it's not okay, go play with this particular, but what would you like to do? Let's take a break and do what you prefer to do, and then we'll do what I want to do, and taking those turns and involving them in those decision making processes and will increase their autonomy and their independence and their sense of control and choice. And maximizing that predictability is keeping the visual schedule, keeping the first then boards, keeping the social stories, and adding to build upon the learned skill of what we're doing. All right. Compassion, care, and co-regulation. I feel like this has been said a lot and it's going to be said again. Your regulation is due key to their regulation. Listen to the behavior. What is my child trying to tell me about their feelings right this moment? If you're throwing an item, are you trying to get my attention or are you done with the item or you don't want it anymore? If you are crying, are you trying to get my attention? Are you hurt? Are you overstimulated? What is the exact thing that you need from me in this moment? Next, you're going to want to validate their feelings. Throughout this whole behavior, it is key that you keep your neutral and calmness because once they see that you're neutral and calm, it is then what word am I looking for?
It's like in the sense of if they see that you're not making a super big deal out of it, they're like, oh well, maybe this isn't as serious as I think. But it's okay. It's like this is something we can work through. This is something we can go through. Because you're freaking out. Oh, this is a real big deal. This
Mm-hmm.
is a big serious thing. I need to start freaking out now. You're freaking out. I'm freaking out. It's just gonna make the situation worse. And I understand that sometimes it is a big deal. Sometimes the event is an incredibly big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it is okay to acknowledge that, feel it internally for a second. But the key is to not let them know. Like, okay, um, going back to I've had some very interesting clients. This was one of my favorite kids. Part of the one who was like, well, you're going to leave, so go on, get fast. My first day by myself with him, he wanted to put me in a power struggle of like, oh, I'm going to open the dishwasher while it's running, and then I'm going to try to go out the front door. And I was like, hee hee hee. And I'm like, you know what? The front door one, that is more important. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait by here. And then they saw that I wasn't giving the reaction to it. I'm like, we can go play and giving the options. We can go over here. We can go do this. Um, to try to get my goat, as some would say, he did pull out a knife from the dishwasher.
Oh, fun time.
So I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay. And he's like giggling. He's like looking, and I saw that he was looking for my reaction. He wanted me to freak out so that he could giggle about it. He was looking for that. So I'm like, well, give me 1 second, bud. And yes, and I know that's a very big deal. But in my face, I had to show that, like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So I quickly, like, grabbed my support, which was their parent. I'm like, hey, they've got a knife. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be very calm about this. You go one direction, I go the other. And so we walked back in there, like, hey, you gonna put it down? And he did. He was like, oh. So they're like, this isn't a big deal to you? I'm like,
I'm you're right. I will put it down.
and they did. And it's like, okay. And so very calmly, you know, mom's like, come to me, come hang out. And he was like, oh, okay. Because that was the big one, the big like emotion, like, come here, come play. After, the danger was already handled, I went back, I picked it up, I put it high up. And since I like, yeah, that's a pretty big deal. But letting them know that it was a big deal could have been more damaging in that situation.
Mhm.
They could have started freaking out if I was freaking out. So it was like important that like I kept that neutral, kind of calm about it. Like yes, that was a situation like that the client did start. But also when it comes to like those really big emotions, those big
Mhm.
feelings, like okay, like when I had big feelings, like as a kid, my mom was like, okay, these are big feelings. Well, we can work through them. We can push through them. We can get through them. Like, okay, it's not forever. This is not a forever feeling.
Mhm.
This is just a temporary one. She'd let it know, like, this is right now, this is what's happening, but we're gonna finish it. We're gonna get through. And that was like a really important thing for like me to realize, like, oh, yes, I'm upset now. It's a big feeling now, but that's just right now. That eventually, like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be calm. So that's when we started going through like our coping. Maybe it was a little different than others. My siblings and I, we needed the big to get it out big. So we did have to like go throw ice at the ground to see things shatter. We had to get it physically out.
Mhm.
And then we could like work through it. She stayed real calm about it. She was like, here's what I can do to help you. And that's where part of like the offer support, validating the feelings. So she kept real calm about it. So I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be freaking out.
Mhm.
And I know like for me, like my little traumas is my car. My car is a trauma for me because I had a lot of car troubles where I was completely by myself. So that's like a really big thing to me. So my partner now is, a car person. They know cars. And so, you know, he's like, I understand this. It looks like a big deal. It sounds like it is, but I can promise you that it's something much smaller. And it's like, okay, that he validates it. He's like, here's what it is, and here's how we're going to continue from this.
Mm.
So that's my trauma. Is things go wrong with my car,
Absolutely.
but him staying calm and knowing that he knows more than me, and
Offering support.
and especially for like little kids, because you know, respectfully, kids don't know things. They don't know a whole lot, and it's our
Mhm.
duty as like the adults to teach them that. It's like, all right, you're freaking out now. I can see that, but let's talk it out.
Mhm.
Let's work through in that teaching, the staying calm, offering support, teaching the coping,
Naming the emotions, putting a name to them.
and then figure out what to do with them.
Absolutely.
It's not enough to just say like you're angry. Well, what am I going to do with it? What am I doing with this anger? It needs to get out
It does.
some way or another. And that's when the offer the support and the teaching, like, all right, here's what we can do about it.
Mhm.
To kind of like get it out, to like kind of not de-traumatize. There's a better word than that. But to like make it,
Avoid.
yeah. So it's like it's not as big.
Mhm.
We can work through it. And, depending on what it is, we can always work through it. Some things just take more time. Some things may take short time. Healing is not linear in any means of it. So sometimes we need to go back and forth, back and forth.
Mhm.
And that's just the way it goes.
I will say, I think when I was younger, a really good, I would say about 2. I grew up with a lot of siblings, but right around 2 is when my mom started getting me into my emotional regulation patterns. And so what she would say is, if you're feeling angry, you start yelling. And you can let me know that you're not yelling at me. You're just yelling because you're angry. And I will understand that, and I will give you the space to go and get your yelling out. And that was really helpful to me, because not and it was helpful to her. It was helpful to her because it allowed me to safely get my anger out, and it allowed her to know that I was safely getting my anger out and I wasn't directing my anger at anyone. I was just letting it out freely. And that truly was something that really stuck with me. And then another thing that really stuck with me is that when I was feeling these like really big feelings, and after I was calm, and my mom, my mom still does this to this day, but when I'm feeling really upset and after I calm back down, she'll be like, okay, now give me a hug and tell me you love me. And it at first, when she first, like as I was younger, this you really used to make me upset. But now it's to the point where if I'm upset and I'm feeling that and I feel that something like and I'm finally back down to my calm state, I then have to like go out and find the people that I hurt during that emotionally heightened state, and I have to go apologize and make it right and tell them I love them. And that's my redemption arc, and I still do that to this day. And that is one thing that is one thing that truly stuck with me throughout my emotional regulation journey, and I still do it to this day. It's something that is still very much present with me, and I I appreciate it now that I'm older. But when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to give you a hug and tell I love you. I was upset with you. Like, you just told me I couldn't have my cookies. Now you want me to give you a hug and tell you I love you? But this was part of my mom's co-regulation and compassion with me, to let me know, hey, even though you did still have those really big feelings and that really big event, I'm still here for you. I still love you. And that is something that we do with our kids every time when they're done with their big behavior. We let them know, like, hey, I'm still here with you. I'm still gonna be around. I don't tell my clients I love them, but I'm like, I'm here with you. You're my dude. You're my girl. Like, we're fine. I'm not gonna hold a grudge against you because you are learning. You're still learning. You're still growing, and it's up to me that make sure that that I continue to teach you those coping skills so that you can continue to learn and grow. Oh, we got one more. Avoiding power struggles. Making sure we're focused on collaboration and understanding and not demands. Um, Excuse me. Can you give me 1 second? I'm gonna go grab some water. Do you want anything to drink? Okay. I'm so sorry, you guys. This is so unlike me.
And so repairing when it comes to those like power struggles. A very famous one is the crying in the store to get the candy, but if I give you the candy, you're just gonna keep crying again. And it's just that kind of run around, run around, run around, run around. Um, so working on like avoiding that first, about like having those set expectations of just very clear, cut, dry, this is what we're gonna do, these are our consequences. If we do this, then this is what's gonna happen, to avoid it happening altogether. Like, and maybe, at one point you're just not there, that you can't go to the store without leaving with a little treat. But the treat is conditional to, hey, you have to go through the entire store nicely with me, using our calm body, using our words to talk to me if we want a candy at the end of the trip. That
Mhm.
setting those clear cut expectations before you even go in, to help kind of avoid what's going to happen, to let them know, like, I want you, buddy. You gotta keep nice hands. We have to keep a nice voice throughout everything. Use our words to talk to me, and so you can get your treat. If not, we can't have one.
Mhm.
And letting them know, this was a big one for my mom, is that if I had left a video game, if I had left a friend's house, if I left anything fun grumpy, she's like, you're showing me you don't want to do this again. Because it was all of that grumpiness was because like my fun had ended. I didn't know how to transition off nicely. So it's like,
Mhm.
if you can't do it, then we won't do it again. I'm like, and it took me a hot second to understand that. I'm like, no, she's right. If I can't transition off the fun things, then maybe it's too much fun for me to have right now. That clear cut, like, we leave nicely so that we can come back and do this again. the faster we leave, the nicer we leave, the sooner and longer we can be there, because I know that we can leave nicely with me. And so kind of like avoiding even that happening, because now it's at the point where like, well, I'm frustrated, like this was something I really wanted. Your high emotions, that fight or flight again, we're not thinking clearly.
Mhm.
We're thinking survival. This is what I want. This is turns from what I want to I need this, because we're not thinking clearly. We're stuck. We're perseverating on it. And then that's when we get into this power struggle, like, well, I need it now.
Mhm.
Wah, ah. But setting that struggle is like, if this is something that you want, this is what we got to do about it. Letting you know beforehand, clear cut expectations as part of like that's no surprise. It's no surprise. It is part of our routine. You know, if that's something that I was like, oh, you want to trade your treat in for something else?
Mm.
Okay. You know, working it out, collaborating. Because, you know, like maybe I will trade in my little treat for a Tic Tac if I can go to Dairy Queen afterwards. To try to, you know, bargain my way. I did that. I bartered. I bartered and bargained for the good treats. But you know what? That gave me something within my power that I could do. They gave me those little control choices. But, you know, sometimes negotiation does work. Hearing them out, sometimes just a flat no is a little too harsh. So like working through it, negotiating. It has its perks to avoid that kind of power struggle.
Wonderfully said, Anita.
Oh, this is my favorite part. The repairing.
You want to start it?
I do, actually. So this is this is my phrase that I win over behaviors. It's not me versus the client. It's not, you know, me versus them ever. Never ever. It's the behavior. It's, you know, winning over, you know, better communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love doing. You know, it's me and my client against, you know, miscommunication. And
Yes.
we're working towards that. We're fixing it. And so after our big behaviors, this is when we acknowledge our mistake. And you know, sometimes adults make mistakes too. You know, the craziest thing that ever happened was when my mom apologized to me. I didn't know that parents could do that. I didn't know adults did that. I'm like, adults can be wrong? But it's important to acknowledge that you can be wrong. One of my mom's famous lines is, I'm not perfect, and I'll never claim to be. And that let me know as a kid, I'm going to fail, and that's okay.
Mhm.
It let me know how to work through it. Instead of saying, sorry, you know, I'm sorry I yelled. That isn't helping the problem. So we have to acknowledge our mistakes on both ends. You know, client like I'm sorry I threw my shoe when there was a rock in there. You know, that's okay. So we try to reconnect after that. So after a moment, you know, it's that we have to build that repairing, like, all right, thank you for apologizing for throwing your shoe. Next time we're gonna use our words. Use our words.
Mhm.
Yay. You know, thanks for having a plan for next time. And this is a really big part, you know, to help kind of prevent that trauma is repairing the relationship at the end. Because, you know, like with my teachers and like coaches, like if they yelled at me, I thought I was in trouble for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I got that fear. And that's not what you want. You don't ever want, you know, your child to be scared of
Scared.
you. Respect? Oh, absolutely, but never scared.
Yeah, you can have respect without fear. For
Absolutely.
sure. For sure.
And so rebuilding, reconnecting with that relationship of like, it's okay. We're okay, buddy. You know, like that. You know, tell me you love me. Give me a hug.
Yeah.
To repair that relationship, to know that we are okay. It is okay. Mistakes happen. What are we going to do next time? All right, we're going to use our words. Here's what we can say. We're okay. You and me are fine, because this is part of like the like when I said it's not enough to say that you're mad. It's
Yeah.
not enough. Acknowledge it. What are we going to do with it? This is how we teach that final end bit of the emotion regulation. Like, alrighty, I made a mistake. let me fix it. Let's be okay.
Yeah.
Like when I fight with my partner, he needs that physical like reassurance at the end, holding a hand.
You fart with your partner.
I do.
Love
But
that for
then
you.
fights are hard. When we fight, at the end of it, we have to hold hands, to finish it off. We're okay. We're okay. We're holding hands. We're fine. And, we build that communication skills back up, you know, and of course, not all communication is verbal. There's ASL, there's the AAC devices, and you know what? We'll use that,
hmm
tell me what you want. I'll replace the demand of like, alrighty, we got to do this. If you're frustrated this time, what can we do to kind of remind them? And it helps, especially if your child is the one who gave you the suggestion for like what they can do better next time. It's like, what do you think we can do? And then, respond with like, I can use my words. I can, give you my special hands
I can hand you my shoe and give you my shoe with the rock in it.
And then like kind of like that doubling down of like, what can you do? Blah 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 to kind of like build that momentum. Like I know I've done that with a few clients of like, and if we're mad, we stop on the ground. And what do we do? Stop on the ground. So that builds that excitement about what they can do instead. What is our repair? Like it's okay. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say you're overwhelmed. You just gotta tell me, and then we can work on it. But we understand that, like, as an adult point of view, sometimes this is really hard because you know what? I'm a little mad. You threw that fake gorilla at my head. I'm a little upset. I'm taking that a little personal. You. I know we're potty training, but you see it in your eyes. You purposely pee-peed on my leg, and it's hard. It's hard. Some of those I do take some of those personal. So sometimes it's hard not to.
hmm
But this is part where we go with, as professionals, we have each other to talk about it like, that hurt me. That hurt my feelings.
hmm
I know they did that on purpose. To kind of feel it out, feel your feelings.
Mhm.
Bottling it up does not help you. You're gonna have to let it out. And either you can let it out or it's gonna get out.
Absolutely.
And so this is how like I kind of like view it like, no, I need to take control of it. I'm gonna let it out. And so like it doesn't get out on its own. So seeking like another parent, emailing us, contacting us like, hey, this is rough. We get it. We understand.
Absolutely.
It is rough. You're never gonna be the only person that goes through it. And we'll find the person that's also gone through it. You know, sometimes it's hard to remember that I'm not the only person that's gone through this.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of other people that had purposeful pee on their leg. I'm not the only one.
You're not the only one. Not the only one at this table either.
So talking it out, letting it out, repairing, reconnecting that relationship. And that's kind of how these kids build their empowerment is that
Mhm.
now they're figuring out their own tools of what they can use, what they can do to maybe avoid it, or if they're going through it again.
Choose a safer alternative than what originally happened.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I think the what I most prefer when I'm rebuilding these relationships after this big stressor occurred is I like to get silly. I think that's the number one thing that I like to do because when you like there's nothing as rejuvenating as a laugh when you're feeling really upset. Like when I'm feeling upset and I'm feeling annoyed and she comes around with her chit chat. She loves to chit chat. When she comes around with her chit chat and I start giggling and smiling, I completely forget what I was upset or annoyed about in the first place. But I think like even if she was the one that annoyed me, when she comes around with that hee hee ha ha,
You're done for.
I'm done for
What are
it.
you even mad at? You don't know. Oh.
I don't know. All right. Self-compassion, because you are the start of everything. Your child came from you. It is up to you for your own self-compassion. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to make sure that you yourself are whole, and then you give out the pieces that you can give out. So, one, remember that you yourself are an anchor. Wow. Anchor. You-
Take two. You are their safe anchor.
Thank you. Wow.
Contagious.
Words are escaping me today.
Just
Um,
you are a safe anchor. You know, I to this day, mommy, I'm stressed.
I know that's right.
Mommy, help me.
I'm very quick to call. I'm very quick to call my mom. Please give me a hug and tell me you love me.
Tell me I'm doing a good job.
Absolutely. But yes, you are their safe anchors. Acknowledging the emotional load. This is not just for your child, this is also for yourself. Being a parent with a child that has special needs of any kind is emotionally taxing, physically taxing, mentally taxing. It's taxing. So acknowledge the emotional load that you're taking on, because you're not only having to deal with yourself, you're having to give someone else the words and the coping mechanisms to deal with that emotional load.
You know, I think one of my favorite shirts for like an autism parent was, "You can call me a hero, but I just want a nap."
I'm not sure.
It's there's a lot. It's a lot, and you know, please don't let anybody ever make you think that it's just these little things. It is a big, it is a lot. It is a lot, and it's okay that it's a lot because there is support. There are teams ready for you to help you because it's a lot.
Absolutely.
And you know, being even like as a family member of somebody on the spectrum, you know, it's a village. You know, I can't tell you how many times like I've sat and helped, you know, the parent, you know, just the siblings,
Mm-hmm.
the child themselves, you know, it really takes a lot. It takes a village. You know, that's kind of part like lead into like managing your own stress. So sometimes
You need to take a break.
you need to take a break.
Sometimes you take a break. Sometimes you need to step away, even if it is in the middle of a lot going on. Sometimes it's okay to take a step back, take your deep breath, do your own counting strategies, your own self stressor, your self coping mechanisms. It's okay to acknowledge and manage your own stress. Absolutely, and then of course, perfection is non-existent, and to me, perfection is non-existent. I'm just going for where can I meet you at and where can I go from there?
No. If today is better, slightly even better than what it was yesterday, that's good enough. That
Absolutely.
is good enough.
If we started at 0% and you did 10%, 10% is better than zero. If you went up to 20%, that's 10% better than what you did. If you went back down to 10%, you started at 0%. So that's progress. And making sure you're acknowledging those small victories is so important, because every small victory adds up to a big victory.
You know, if all you have is 15%, give 100% of that 15. It's good enough. It's great. It's good enough. I know for me, like I get pretty big seasonal depression. So I go ham on holidays. It just leading up. Oh, things are starting to go on sale for Thanksgiving. I go ham. Every tiny victory, I applaud myself. I applaud others because sometimes that's enough. In my daily checklist, I have two tiny tasks, and some of them are as tiny as make sure your pens are in the cup holder.
Refill.
And you know, that's what keeps me going, especially, you know, in the winter, like all these tiny little things, they matter. Celebrate every tiny victory. You put on pants today?
Ringing the bell, sound the
Oh my
alarm.
goodness. You brushed your teeth? You're an Olympian. You're an Olympian. You know what? Some days that's the gold standard, and that is okay. You know, I've had plenty of, parents that like to have floor days where some days it is so heavy that you cannot get off the floor. You got out of bed. And that's the victory. And that's a big enough victory. Celebrate your small victories. There's no such thing as perfection. Give 100% of your 2%. Manage your stress. Take time for yourself. It's a lot,
And we understand. It's a lot, and we understand. Miss Christina, we did see that you had your hand raised for a moment there.
Yeah, that wasn't me clapping actually, but I just wanted to say thank you guys for saying that, because something I've been recently struggling with, because my child's only 2, and like other people who have other young ones, it's like, what do you mean you're so excited your child started skipping? He's 2 years old. He should, have already been doing that and stuff like that. So I would say that's something a challenge I was not expecting to, face throughout all of this. But yeah, so thank you for that reminder.
Of course, of course. Each child, they set you up to believe that each milestone is supposed to be hit by a certain age, and to some extent that is absolutely true, but it doesn't take into the account how different each child is. And that's not just for children on the spectrum, that's each child, period. And you might not be hitting the expected milestones, but when they do hit those milestones, we are throwing the exact same party that we would throw if you hit them earlier. We would throw the exact same, victory celebration, because it is important. And as long as we hit them, who cares when it's done? As long as we hit them in a what is it, a reasonable amount of time.
what, honestly, not even if it's a reasonable amount of time.
As long as we
I
get them.
finished potty training with the client when they're like 10. We did it though.
I'm about to say it's
We
done
did
now.
No, just because
Absolutely.
it's not somebody else's metrics doesn't make yours any less valid.
Thank you. That is exactly the words I was looking for. Exactly the words I was looking for.
No, it's not every case is cut clear dry. If that's your child's milestone, that's their milestone. Nobody can take your miles. That's
Absolutely.
theirs. And it should be celebrated. Because again, not every child is the same.
Mm,
We will not treat them the same. Because you know what? It doesn't matter when it happened. It happened,
mhm.
and we're throwing a party. We can't compare our metrics to like somebody else's, and somebody else can't impose theirs on yours. All of my siblings, we all started talking, walking, crawling, all at different ages. My mom didn't know that I knew my ABCs until like later on. She was like, "You're reading at a higher level." I missed the milestone of singing ABCs to mommy, but I was reading. And you know what? Different milestones for different folks. And
Absolutely.
that's okay. That's
Absolutely.
fine.
Mm.
So please have patience with yourself, with your child. There's always a team.
Alrighty. And that is the end of our presentation today. Are there any other questions or comments?
Thank you for a delightful presentation. It was very informative.
Glad you enjoyed it.
My only question was just to confirm, this is the last week in the course, or?
Yes.
Yes, this is the last week. So tomorrow will be the closing day, and that will be the last one until we officially start our podcast, which will be coming in 2026.
Oh, no, is tomorrow's presentation the same as tonight's, or?
So tomorrow's is going to be a guest speaker in which they will do just a little bit more in depth.
Okay, well, I'll still tune in for that. And thank you guys a lot for just this whole course. I've been taking this while first getting my son diagnosed, so it's every Monday I'm like, okay, I feel like I have more of a handle on things. So thank you guys a lot for that.
And that's why we do it. We understand some information just isn't readily available.
Absolutely.
And I promise the podcast is coming. I just because ABA is scientific based, I need to make sure that the research is done, that is thorough before I can, start giving it out. A lot of this has been through like our own
Experience.
experience. So we've been there, we've done that. So I just want to make sure that I can give as accurate information as I can. Information shouldn't be gatekept.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Yes. Well, I'm gonna sign off now, but I guess I will see y'all tomorrow evening.
All right. See you tomorrow evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Wait, Miss Christina.
Oh yes.
Can you please, after this training is over, feel free to reach out to us at any time if you have any questions. If you're coming across a situation, like, we're here to help. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. And then if you really liked our webinar, please leave us a review. We're very, very new, and we just want to get out there to support the community.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Is the review on the website page?
Yeah, you can just leave a regular Google review.
Oh, okay. Yes, those do exist. Right. All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you again so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Bye bye.